Welcome to the Holistic Pathway podcast, unscripted conversations on mind, body, spirit, and entrepreneurship. A new video series podcast where we dive deep into the holistic integration of life and business. I am Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. Today's guest is coming to us all the way from Scotland, and her name is Linda McClure. Linda is the founder of Gut-Zen, a certified nutritional therapist and a health coach specializing in gut health and autoimmune conditions. Linda's unique 3 steps to the new you approach combines functional nutrition, keto principles, and gratitude to guide clients towards optimal health and food freedom, empowering individuals to heal on a cellular and soul level. Linda's philosophy centers on the mind, nutrition, and soul connection, helping clients transform their lives and discover their best selves. I'm so excited to have Linda, and I hope you will stay tuned for our conversation. So, Linda, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited. This is so much fun. When I started this podcast back in the end of April, my goal was really positive global impact, but I didn't know if I was going to have anybody globally on here. And you're all the way in Scotland. I think that's amazing. So hi, how are you today?
Hi. I'm really good. I'm really good today. I had to stop myself working there, Tammy. Doing this new branding thing that we're doing.
Yeah,
And
I know
getting quite excited.
That's the thing. We met in this entrepreneurial group where we're working on all these things to really help our people. And I'm so happy that I met you. And yeah, what you've been working on for your brand is just beautiful. I love it so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I honestly didn't think I wanted to change anything. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I love this.
I love it too. Yeah, yours is so beautiful, and I'm excited to see, as entrepreneurs, we're looking at things that our clients don't even realize we're looking at. We're looking at, if they come to our website, does our website feel comforting to them? Does it feel inviting? Does it excite them? Like, I don't think they really have any idea how much we love them. Yeah, I get teary. How much we love them and how much we put into trying to make things the best for them.
Absolutely.
I love that. So how did you get into your work? I love Gut-Zen. I love that name. How did you get into
Thank you. Well, I had no idea this was going to happen. No idea whatsoever. I've been a hairdresser for 35 years. So I've been trying to give it up though for 20 years. And I studied complementary therapies, which is holistic therapies, massage. I specialised in advanced aromatherapy, clinical aromatherapy, and prescription essential oils. But I did all of it, and I graduated from university from that in 2010. Excuse me a wee second. And then I realised that it wasn't taken seriously. I was very disillusioned because I went into it with this dream of knowing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But coming out of especially because I went on to the university, to the degree level of it, I really had this passion that I was going to end up working in healthcare in the holistic sense, but it didn't happen. So it's a longer story, but I'll cut it as short as I can. And a lot of my thing really at that stage was I wanted to be a mum. That was all I cared about. And lucky enough, a couple of years after I graduated from university, I met my now husband. And then we adopted our little girl. I think she came home. We were 2016. So that's 8 years now.
Wow.
I know. So for the first few years, I ended up with my own hairdressing salon, which was not intentional. I just allowed the world, the universe to go in and take me where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And around 26, 17, I started noticing I wasn't feeling well. And it just escalated. And it was the tiredness. I was so tired all the time. And by 2019, I was going blind. I almost lost my sight. I was in so much pain I could hardly walk. So everything was just going wrong. And then in May 2019, I ended up in hospital, rushed to hospital in an ambulance. I looked like Quasimodo. I was not even recognizable. I looked like somebody had put one of these blow up pumps and blown me up. Anyway, no one, there was never an investigation. No, I had no idea what was wrong with me. And then in August 2019, the last time I ever went to the doctors, really for anything with that, whereas I was there every 2 weeks previous to that to get my bloods done. And the last time I ever went, I was getting referred to a rheumatologist because of the pain that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, obviously, it was pre-2020, so there wasn't a huge waiting the way there is now.
Yeah.
So I thought at that time, I thought it's going to take about 12 weeks. I'm going to see what I can do and go back into my own holistic knowledge and like that. And I started looking into nutrition. And Tammy, I have struggled with my weight my whole life, so that is not a route I ever saw myself taking
Mm-hmm.
because I just didn't feel that I just thought because I was overweight that was the cause of everything. Unbeknown to me that that's a causation of, it's a symptom of what's other things that are going on.
Yeah.
And of course, I'd done what so many other people do. I listened to mainstream and thought low fat and low, everything. And I did Slimming World. I'm not sure if you've got Slimming World in America.
Have what now?
Slimming World. It's like a weight loss class.
Well, there's so many,
Yeah.
so many,
Similar to Weight Watchers.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Similar to that, but slightly different. But I did that for years thinking, oh yeah, just need to lose weight and everything will be okay. And then I started delving into nutrition and I spent about a year reading, just
Mm-hmm.
delving in. And I noticed the difference really quickly when I found the autoimmune protocol, the AIP, and I found that online. I just researching. Again, this is where my studying from being at uni, that really came in helpful for me because I discovered that I'd went into that very bohemian, thinking, oh, I'm going to just heal everybody. And came out of it loving research.
Yeah.
I've become really geekish actually over the years. And so I found that food really helped. And I totally turned my condition around. I never take pain. I don't take any medication at all. Haven't done now for a number of years. And so I decided to study it because I thought if I can do this, I'm going to learn properly. So I've spent the last my first one that I did was the AIP certified coaching. I did that. I graduated started at the beginning of 2021 and graduated in May 2021. And then I knew at that stage that I wanted to go further. So I signed up to a big course, which got me it wasn't a university degree, but it's the same level in nutritional therapy and integrative health coaching. And I've just finished.
Congratulations. I
Thank you.
love that. So, what's interesting is I love when I come together with people because I believe that it's all divine connections. Um, my journey is different than yours, but let me just share a little bit about these similarities. So
Mhm.
my signature process, if you will, in the work that I do is I believe there are 4 parts to the journey, and it's the mind-body connection, mindfulness, mindset, and manifest. And the reason I came up with those 4 is I looked back over my journey, and what really started in my journey was there was a history of severe trauma, abuse, and loss in my life. I didn't know how that was going to all impact me later in my life. And around 2002, I began to get really sick. And I started getting one diagnosis after another, one prescription after another. I was in university at that time, working on my bachelor's degree, and ended up doing a presentation on the mind-body connection. I didn't really know much about it. I was just learning about it, and I'd done some research on it. And then around, it just kept happening. I just kept getting sicker. There was more and more things happening. My body started shutting down. I ended up having gastric bypass. I lost 150 pounds. And then in 2010, I had an emergency surgery where I had severe bowel obstruction with intussusception. So my intestines had sort of telescoped into themselves. Backing up, so in 2003, I graduated with a bachelor's degree. And then in 2009, I graduated with a master's degree in counseling. And I was planning to go the traditional route of being a licensed professional counselor, but then several different things happened, and I ended up going the holistic route. Around 2011, I started meditation. So that's why for me, it's the mind-body connection. Then it was the mindfulness piece. Well, what has happened on the nutrition front, that's not really where I focus in my work. My work is much more focused on emotions, and spirituality is really the big keys to my work. But I ended up in a healing arts school and graduated as a mind body wellness practitioner. And part of that was becoming a holistic nutrition specialist. And then after that, I went through Mind Valley. Are you familiar with Mind Valley? You, you,
No.
you see them all over the internet. Well, they have a lot of holistic and spiritual type courses. Well, they had one called Hollow Body, which is another deep dive into the body and into holistic nutrition. And so I just love this connection that we have, because there's a lot of people out there. One, they don't realize how much emotions and how much nutrition play a part to how they're feeling. And then you've taken it a little bit step farther, and you're focusing specifically on healing the gut, right? Because I think a lot of people don't realize they may not even know there is AIP, there is the autoimmune protocol. They may not even know there's something called SIBO, or they may not know that there's H. pylori. They may not know any of these other things. And that's why I love these conversations, because we don't know where they're going to go. And there
No.
may be somebody listening to us that has never even heard these words before, and then think, oh my gosh, is that the answer that I've been looking for? Like you, I stopped taking pharmaceutical medication completely. Probably 2014 was when it had stopped before then, but there was still a few. And then I would say since 2014, I've probably had maybe a total of 4 or 5 prescriptions since 2014. And that was due to an urgent or an emergent situation. And I don't take over the counter stuff unless it's some sort of supplement or something like that. So, and it's interesting, and a lot of people think that's such a radical way of thinking. And yet, when you found that instead of putting another prescription on top of you that usually may hide a symptom for a little while, and you may become more sick in another way, you actually start healing these things in your body. And, who knew? And then the food thing, I think, gets really confusing for people because there's so much misinformation out there, and then the food supply has changed. It's not the same anymore.
No, it's not at all. I literally just, I was writing about this yesterday in a post on my business page on Facebook because I've kept quiet on social media for quite a while now, actually, just because I've been so busy concentrating on working. I mean, sorry, studying,
Yeah.
and and then I'm now starting to, because I'm about to launch again at the end of July. So, but the food itself is just, I mean, I would never have dreamt, even a year ago, that I would have chosen to specialize in keto. I've even gone down, I've just taught a class about 4 weeks ago on carnivore. Had someone said that I would do that even 6 or 7 months ago, I'd have thought, no, absolutely not. However, the research that I've done, and it just makes so much biological and physiological sense.
Hmm.
You know, the two main things that food wise, macronutrient wise, that make the body better are fat and protein.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so interesting that when I had gastric bypass, because I knew nothing about nutrition. I didn't grow up knowing about nutrition. I remember when I was married to my second husband, I made a meal one day and he goes, well, that's like starch on starch on starch. And I said, I don't know what you're saying. Like he was speaking a language I did not even understand. And I said, well, I don't know what you mean. We have mashed potatoes, that's what we eat. We have corn, that's what we eat. We have some gravy and we have some bread and we have some meat. Like, what are you saying? Because at that time, I thought potatoes and corn were vegetables, you know,
Hmm.
and I didn't know any different. I had no idea that certain food I ate converted to sugar. I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
didn't know when they take fat out of food and call it low fat, that they really just add a bunch of sugar. And,
Or chemicals.
yes. And when I had gastric bypass, part of what I cannot do is tolerate sugar. So I had to really learn not only about sugar, but about sugar alcohols, and then to learn
Hmm.
all the ways that they hide it in the ingredients. And, it's like, who knew that just trying to feed yourself would become so complicated?
I know.
And that is why people don't understand sometimes why they need a coach or why they need
Yeah.
a specialist of some type to help them. And it's because we've already done all of that work and sorted
Yeah.
through to be able to help them, and also to help them understand that you can't just go to a diet or buy some sort of diet protocol and have it be the thing for you, because
Yeah.
there are nuances to to who you are and what your body needs. It's kind of like
Hmm.
I said the other day, while I love the idea of being vegan, like I love the idea of that from a moral standpoint, from a heart standpoint, yet my body needs meat. My body actually needs animal protein.
Hmm.
And especially with all the surgical alterations that have happened to my
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
So it makes it
I was
really,
vegetarian.
yeah. And so now you were talking about keto, and that's the thing. And I think there are also different kinds of keto out there. I think there are unhealthy
Yeah.
versions of keto. And it's even like people who are vegan who then they're not eating animal products, but they're eating a bunch of crap. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, and it's like not healthy for them either. Like there's healthier things they could be doing.
Yeah.
So I know one of the things, yeah, so I just keep thinking about Gut-Zen. Like I think that is such a perfect name.
It came up for me. Do you know, I almost went back to just using my own name about a year ago. And then because I came up with this name, it must be about 3 years ago now. And I'm so glad it just came to, it was like a download,
Yeah.
Tammy, and I just thought, my God, it's so me because I had never envisioned, when I was younger, I still am really spiritual. However, I've become quite academic now as well, which I wasn't at all,
Yeah.
at all. But it's to bring both together for me, because like you say, I do not believe you can heal without doing both nutrition. I mean, my tagline is mind, nutrition, soul. And it's because it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
It's about working on all three, you know. That, I like to use, I specialized in stress management when I first graduated from university 14 years ago, and I ran a stress clinic in Glasgow. But I hate the word stress management now,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's really harsh, even though that's kind of what I still do. But I find it's about like more emotional, beautiful well-being, and you know.
For sure. Yeah. It's like I hear people use that term manage or management a lot,
Mhm.
and or coping skills. And again, I have a master's in counseling, so I know those words. And yet what I found is that when you're actually doing things that are healing, I found that I didn't need coping skills anymore because I had healed the things that I needed to cope with, and
Yeah.
so, and I'm not managing anything. I'm actually using tools and things to actually heal my body. And I know I've had conversation with people recently because I just graduated from yoga teacher training in
Oh,
January.
wow.
And
Cool.
I'm 59 years old. And part of what people have come on either on the podcast or messages, and they're saying, I don't know what you're doing or what you've done. And I said, well, it's not one thing. Like, it's such a combination. It's a healing journey for me.
Yeah.
You can't just like, oh, let me go take a yoga class and it's going to fix my life. No, that's not how that works. Or, oh, let me go on this diet and then, oh, I lost weight, now let me just go off of it again. No, this is a lifestyle. you know
Absolutely. That's like what keto as well. I don't like use it. I don't like the word diet anyway. I
no
think again it's negative, and it's about it's lifestyle, it's everything, it's all of it. I love I'm a keen Benazadi watcher, the keto camp guy. I just think he's amazing. And when he talks about vitamin G, and I remember the first time because someone else was, and I thought, why have I not heard of this? Why have I not heard of this vitamin? And it's
yeah
gratitude.
hmm
And I thought, oh my God, it's so powerful. And I brought that into my coaching practice now as well, because I've lived in when I was doing the stress management years ago and had taken, working with other people, they used to say to me, because it's trying to change into that positive mindset. And I remember, clients that I was working with back then saying, "How do you do that?" And I said, I didn't really talk about it as gratitude back then,
hmm
but I look out the window. I didn't drive back then. I only passed my driving test 12 years ago, so it was before that.
wow.
So I got the bus everywhere or I walked. And I would just say, I just look out the window and decide what I'm going to be grateful for, to look at. It changes your moment. What music I'm going to put on my earphones while I'm sitting going to work in the morning.
Yeah,
Because it's so powerful, and it is scientifically proven to heal the body internally as well.
I love that. And and I've taught people because sometimes gratitude gets a bad rap, you know. And what I mean by that is, let's say when I was growing up, if someone gave you something and you didn't seem appreciative, you were ungrateful, right? You need to be
Mm.
grateful for things. And so it was almost, let's say someone gave you something that was completely off the mark, but you better be grateful. So a lot of times people have been sort of shamed with gratitude and grateful. And
Yeah.
what I have shared with people is gratitude is something that happens within you. And I have done an exercise with people to have them think about the gratitude they have for things that make no sense, like the electric bill, and like, why would I be grateful for that? Right. People are usually mad about the electric bill, right?
Yeah.
And what I share with them, but what is that giving you? What are you getting? What did you receive in order for them to give you that bill? You maybe we're talking on this computer right now across countries. you know
I
um
know.
I have a microphone here that's got electricity. I have a light over my head. I have air conditioning in the heat.
Mhm.
So when you start to realize that things sometimes aren't face value, like, how can you look deeper into that? What are you actually receiving from it?
Yeah.
And when you start to, I think, understand, even with our food, what has to happen in order for you to get the food that you complain about?
Mhm.
What had to happen for it to show up at the store or whatever? And I love to be able to help people see gratitude from a way that they maybe haven't seen it before. Have you found with your family, when you started diving into nutrition, are they excited about it, or did they not
Yeah.
so much? What?
We are now. My husband is now. He's actually becoming really, really interested in it all now too.
Oh, good.
Um, he's always supported me really well, actually. He's a very quiet man compared to me. I'm quite, vivacious and loud, and but he's really quiet. But yes, I drive people insane. My friend told me when we were on holiday last week, she said, I don't like going shopping with you because I comment on what she's buying. I don't mean to.
Yeah.
I just say that's not good for you. So I'm trying very hard to pull it back and not comment unless people actually ask me.
It is challenging, and it's a lot of times there are things that I still do that I know that aren't good for me, that I know there's a better way, and I will call it out. As an example, drinking out of a plastic water bottle.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm the same. I've got
I
one
know,
too.
I know there's a better way. And I also have been in parts of my journey where I've judged myself for, oh, I'm not doing it right, or, oh, I'm not doing it perfectly. And so the reason I do this and the reason I bring it up is to show people I'm not doing it perfectly either. And
No, me
I'm
neither.
not, and I'm not judging myself anymore. I recently had water delivery service come to my house. So now I have a water cooler at my house and things like that so that I can limit the number of these
Yeah.
plastic bottles. I have, and some different things. And so it's, instead of shaming yourself for what you're not doing, um, give yourself some grace and look at what can I do in the moment, and how have I made some changes that improved my life. And it's really important that we don't um, beat everyone else over the head with what we've learned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I think as well, one of the things that personally for me, how to explain that obviously with studying, it's taken me away because I still have my hairdressing business, but studying's taken over everything.
Yeah.
So I have very few clients left, so there's very little money coming in. I've not relaunched this business yet. And I've had to go through the worst financial time of my life this past year to 2 years, to the point where it's hit like absolute couldn't, well, it could get worse actually. I'm not saying
Always.
that, like,
Always
but that's
can.
where my gratitude came in. I am so incredibly grateful
Yeah.
that that happened
Yeah.
because it humbled me. And it also helped me to realize, that I can't always afford organic food. I can't, for instance, at the moment, only at the moment, I'm watching my words here. I can't this,
Hmm.
but likes of a water filter, because where we live, we can normally drink water out the tap anyway. It's not perfect, however, and especially not now. Um, But yes, it would be nice to have a lovely big proper water distiller or filter. But again, it's to show people that it doesn't matter about being perfect.
No,
It's about forgiving yourself and accepting where you're at that moment and just making the changes that you can make,
a hundred
because
percent.
all those small changes make a huge difference.
100%. There were times where I literally ate all my meals from fast food, all of them.
Right.
And I had to learn how to make the best choices I could in that situation, and
Mhm.
I did a small class with a group of women the other night just on they wanted to know about fast, easy, nutritious kind of meals. And so I came up with things because I don't cook. So I came up with some ways to help them, like go to Sprouts as an example. I don't know if you have Sprouts in Scotland,
No.
but it's a more nutrition friendly grocery store. And and shared with them how they could do something super easy and still get similar results,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. You also become very resourceful in looking for ways. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm know that this is my goal, and yet I'm unable to do this because of money or accessibility or whatever it is. Okay, so what can I do? So, as an example, on the meal that I shared with them, Sprouts has a deli inside their store, and they usually shred chicken from their deli, so it's fresh, and you can go and you can buy that. And then they have like frozen organic vegetables. And so what I did is I picked up a bag of frozen organic vegetables, and I picked up the shredded chicken, and I did two different kinds of meals. One I did in the oven on a baking sheet, and one I did in a skillet. And these were super fast, super easy, but I had good ingredients going into it, And so
Mhm.
looking for ways that you can do that. And with kids. So how old is your daughter now?
9.
She's 9. So my
Yeah.
grandson is 9 too. And I know for moms, it's challenging to get kids to eat nutritious food. So how are you doing with that? Are you finding that to be challenging?
Some, I'm not as it will become. She's funnily enough, I think because there's some neurodivergency there,
Okay.
she can become quite obsessed with things. So because she knows what I do and she listens to me, she takes a really keen interest in it. So there is aspects of it that's really good. We've discovered just paying attention to the way she acts when she's had certain foods.
Yeah.
But unbeknown to me, I've asked her, we said to explain to her that just now she's not allowed to have anything to drink other than water or organic milk. But she's done doing that out with the house. She turned down at a birthday party. But, I've said that you can have, decent quality chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
She's allowed to have, if it's cake or something, I don't mind because she's still a kid at the end of the day.
Right.
But these jelly sweeties, like the chewy ones and the Haribos and all these jelly things
Yeah.
that have got so many additives and things
Like
in
the
them.
gummy bear things,
Yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah. These kind of things, we have to really be careful because she gets really aggressive, Tammy,
Mm.
and it's difficult to manage.
With
So
with the
things like that, I
dyes,
started,
with the dyes and the ingredients and those things, because
yeah,
that's the
it's
thing. People,
preservatives,
yeah,
colorants, additives, all of
right.
these things, you know. I try every morning because I home educate as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I took her out of school, oh gosh, over a year ago now. And so it's been much easier because I'm with her to feed her and things. So I started last year. No, sorry, a few months ago, earlier this year, I started giving her like a really fatty sort of good quality meat breakfast. So she gets organic beef sausages cooked in butter
Mhm.
and scrambled egg. See the difference?
Yeah.
Because she had tics. I've not had her diagnosed because it's really difficult to get on any kind of waiting list nowadays anyway.
Mhm.
And I don't even know how I feel about it.
I know.
So I feel that as she gets older, if I feel that she needs it, and by that time I'll be able to pay privately or whatever, and I'll always do what's best for her. However, the difference that I've noticed by giving her these things for the breakfast, not always perfect the rest of the day,
Of course.
but the tics have reduced because she had nervous tics. They've reduced dramatically this FIP. So for about 3 or 4 weeks now, all of a sudden I just noticed, I thought, she's not doing that anymore.
Mhm.
So it's really amazing. And I'm really intrigued by the GAPS. Have you heard of GAPS diet? Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, well, I've read her books, and she's another amazing woman. She's just, I follow a lot of what she says as well for children because she does, it's all very similar. It's the high fat,
Yeah.
a lot better proteins, taking out the grains and all the crap and everything else.
Yeah.
Eating as organically as possible. It's not always possible, but it's much better to have a piece of chicken that's maybe not organic than it is to have processed out of a packet.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. And I taught a little something about when to buy organic. And I'm sure you know about the clean, what is it, the clean 15 and the dirty
Yeah,
dozen. And
yeah,
so, and if you are challenged to buy organic, if you at least get what's on the dirty list and make sure that
yeah.
those you buy organic, then that's good. That's a great thing. And I wondered because I don't know anything about the public school systems in Scotland, and how they are as far as America goes and that kind of things. But the nutrition that they get at school, I wouldn't even call it nutrition. It's
No,
I
neither would
I,
I.
I don't know what that is that they get. And
The food pyramid for the Western world, because we are very similar to you guys for the food pyramid, if not the same. It's just worded differently. I think it's the Eat Well, some guide or something in the UK. And excuse me. And I've had to study all that
yeah,
because I have to study mainstream. And it's just that my own research takes me right outside and my own conditions as well, because I thought that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work
yeah.
for most people and it doesn't make sense either. You
No,
know?
I've had this conversation with my daughter, for she and for my grandson several times, and it's like, as a mom, you're trying to, and you're not studying this stuff. You're just trying to figure out the best thing you know how. You go
Yeah,
to the grocery store, and there's the stuff you buy, and you think you're buying healthy stuff, and you don't
I
realize
know.
all the other stuff. And so sometimes you're doing all the things that you believe are the right things, and yet you're not getting the results from it
Yeah.
because there's so much. It's really just, it makes people want to give up because they don't know
Hmm.
what to do, and especially when it's their children.
Yeah.
And I talked to my daughter about this. I didn't know any of this stuff when I was raising my kids, and so their nutrition was terrible. And what I know now, there's so many things that you can do to prevent disease from setting in. You can prevent some of these things that are a direct result of what we're eating.
Yeah.
And I think I get really angry with people who believe if someone is struggling with weight or illness, that they think is due to their weight. People think the answer is, well, just step away from the table and just exercise more. Okay, well, that's not real. That's a very simplified, uneducated, pretty judgmental thing to say to someone when you really have no idea what's going on with that person's body.
It's also really difficult to exercise when you're in pain.
Yeah,
When you have chronic pain, it's really hard
it
to
really
even
is.
get out of bed.
When I moved here, I'm in Arizona now, and we just moved back, or I just moved back here a year ago. I live on the second floor, and I could barely get up the steps because I had some physical things going on,
Mhm.
and it was difficult to just take one step after another, for pain reasons and for just I had no words for what I was feeling. I just didn't feel well. And sometimes that's all it is. And
Yep.
people are judging other people for what they are not doing and have no idea what's actually going on for the person.
No, absolutely. Especially for, I mean, men have hormonal changes as well, but women, I mean, I'm in my 50s now as well. And, I had horrific perimenopause,
Yeah.
in my mid 40s. And of course, it was all happening at the same time.
I
Everything, I was like, oh no, this
know.
is awful. I would be mid-sentence and think, what was I talking about?
Same.
You know?
Yeah.
But I have to say, that's one thing that I absolutely love about keto, because when I went, it all went away. Everything. I'm in full-blown menopause now, and I
Yeah.
have not one symptom.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It is amazing what you can do when you're actually looking at what is my body saying to me? What is my body telling me? And really, I call it learning to understand the language of your body,
Hmm.
because the body is telling you just all kinds of information all the time. We just don't know how to listen. And sometimes we've shut down some of the language our body has because
Yeah,
it was like, okay, well, I give up. You're just going to feed me this or this or do this or this,
yeah,
and I can't get through. And I love for people to be able to just try new things, see how it
yeah.
goes, kind of like with your daughter. I love that you're able to do that with her, and that she at least is willing to give it a try. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And because she probably also recognizes that she feels different.
She does. She definitely does, because we talk a lot about emotions and how we feel about things, and because she's had trauma,
Yeah,
being adopted, that it comes with trauma whether we like it or not.
of course.
And for everybody involved, people, I remember the early doors and people, you're so lucky, she's so lucky. And I'm like, there's nobody lucky in adoption.
Yeah,
Nobody. There's trauma, there's sadness on every side. Especially in this, I'm not sure how it works in the States, because here it's very, very seldom that a child is given up. They are taken away usually by social services, or social work as it's called here. So there's always trauma there.
yeah,
But she's been with, I mean, yeah, she's some girl. She's an absolute live wire. She keeps me on my toes.
yeah.
But she's very interested in things, which is great. She's going to take over the world one day and run my business and
I
everything
love it.
else.
I
Yeah,
love that. And yeah, adoption here, it's different. There are people who willingly do adoptions, and there are people who lose their children through,
yeah.
force or whatever, behaviors, that kind of thing. I was raised in a situation that was similar to adoption, yet I was not actually adopted.
Right.
And my brother was, due to circumstances, was given up for adoption, and we didn't meet him. He was born in 1966, and I didn't meet him until
Wow.
1994, you know.
Wow.
But we did, we did meet. And the thing is, that you don't ever know the circumstances that someone is going through. And I am so grateful that there are people who are interested in adoption, though, because um, sometimes a child, if they've gone through whatever they've gone through, whether it was, they don't usually know what the circumstances were sometimes with the biological
Mhm.
parents, but one thing they
Yeah.
do feel is not wanted. They do feel
Hmm.
that they've done something wrong, that someone doesn't want them, and to
Yeah.
have someone who actually adopts them, um, it is a blessing, even if they don't recognize it in the moment. I don't know if you guys have foster care there. They have it here, and I think it's pretty horrible actually for people.
We've been really blessed. I'm still in touch with foster carers
Oh, good,
that because
good.
they went through that process that she was a foster carer first, in the when she was baby, really
Yeah,
baby. And but we're still friends with them now. They're like family. She goes to
good.
visit, she goes to stay. So I did that on purpose at the beginning. It was harder at the beginning because when Lucy first came home, I didn't want to share her, you know. So, but that was my thing. It was just that was my, and I kind of stepped back eventually and thought, right, come on, this is not about you, Linda. This is about Lucy's best interests and how it would going forward in life. I didn't always want it to be I was the only person that she trusted,
Yeah,
that there was other people that she could ask about her past or, whatever she needs to know, because that will always come, you know.
of
And
course.
they had that first year where, she was with them when she was really, really young, you know. So
Well,
we've
I
become really
love
good
that
friends.
because there are some people I think that go into foster care for the right reasons and they're good people and
Hmm.
they do that. Then here, I know there are a lot of people that go into it for the money and
Yeah, I think it's the same here too.
they're not good people. And living in that situation for kids can be um additional traumas happening,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so I'd love to
definitely.
hear of a story when like my brother, as an example, went to a family that took great care of him, and he's turned out to be a fine person, with the care that he
Yeah,
received. And I love to hear of a story where someone was chosen by a family, and then so yeah, I love that for you, and I love that for her. And
yeah,
how great that you've been able to bring her home and teach her at home and just teach her all kinds of things. I think that's
I
just,
know. Because of that, I've always tried to speak about the emotional side
yeah.
so that, because I've never hidden anything from her. You're kind of trained that way, I suppose, when you're going into adoption here. But it just doesn't, we talk about everything really. I mean, she's only 9, and one of the things that I find amazing is that the best times that we have conversations is in the car
Mm-hmm.
because she knows it. So we chat without she doesn't feel that pressure of looking.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of learning in the car actually. But when there's emotional stuff to talk through, that seems to work really well. But going back to the food thing and the emotions, because obviously with the background, we've talked about the emotions a lot over the years. And she definitely notices with the food because she doesn't go for the things that she used to go for. I mean,
Mm.
she still has stuff.
Yeah.
She still has things that are not perfect because, you know, she has, as I said a wee while ago, she is only 9 and it's really difficult. But I definitely think as she gets older, all of the junk will go. I truly believe that because, it's when it makes you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. I believe it's like going back as well about that being not perfect.
Yeah.
None of us are perfect. I still eat crap sometimes, not much, but I do still do it,
Yeah. Well, and
and
and there's a difference in making a choice than when you're doing it from an emotional place.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
um my son was recently gone. I have an adult son who's my roommate, and he was recently gone for a couple of weeks. And during that period, I have a lot of emotional things going on with my family. And I found that I started eating in a way that I haven't been eating in a long time
Mhm.
and craving things. And it was all very, and I recognized and I understood, not everyone does, that, like having a cookie or having a piece of cake is one thing, but when you find yourself going back to it over and over and over
Mhm.
again throughout the day or throughout the week, that's usually a good indicator that something subconsciously is working on you, even if you don't know what it is. And
Yeah.
because of the way that you are wanting to eat these things,
Mhm.
it's not just a matter of what you're eating, it's how you're doing it, like kind of what's the
Yeah.
driving force behind it. And I think that's super important for people to know too. Like you
Yeah,
said, I mean, our
definitely.
world has got all kinds of crap in it that tastes really good, you know, and you may recognize that, oh, when I eat that, I don't feel well. And yet
Yeah.
maybe there are times where you're like, you know what, I'm going to have some cake today.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what I do sometimes is I will have, let's say I want some kind of amazing dessert, amazing in the way it tastes, not in how it is for your body. And what I may do is I may have a bite or two of it over several days. So I've got the taste of it, but I haven't, like, one, I can't do it because the way my body processes it.
Me for
So
coffee.
there's all kinds of ways.
And there's also ways of learning how to make things that taste really good too.
Absolutely. Well, and
I've started making sort of a keto no bake cheesecake lately. And it's not something I would have every day because there is a lot. Because at the same time, as much as you're eating high fat, you've got to be careful.
yeah.
But wow, it's such a nice thing to have on that, on an evening maybe when you want that wee, or even just during the day if you fancy a wee bit with a coffee or whatever. It's really nice to do these things,
Mhm.
because sometimes there is some people out there that, especially on the sort of, I look at a lot of the carnivore stuff now, simply because I've delved into it a little bit more in the last few months due to its healing capacity for the gut.
Yeah.
Because I had a client that, well, I've kind of been working with someone who has MS, and she's tried everything. So I thought I'll go down a different route and have a wee look at this. And I've done, but when I look at that bigger picture and people think they can live like that, I admire, I've got no judgment on anybody. Do what you want to do in life.
Hmm.
But I like the taste of some vegetable. I've reduced a lot of fruit and vegetables in my world, but I still like herbs. I still like salad. I like all these things and I like to have olive oil on them. I like that plant-based part of flavor, you know?
Well, and sometimes I find that, um, you know, when, like, if I've tried something and I may not like it, and and I may may not like it at all, but then I notice my body responds really well to it, and then I go,
Hmm.
well, maybe I'll try that again. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just getting your system used to the
Hmm.
taste of things. Sometimes that
Yeah.
takes a little while too. I eat things and drink things now that I never thought I would be able to do.
Well, Tammy, I hadn't eaten red meat for 35 years. I've
Oh,
only started eating red meat again a few months ago.
yeah,
I ate chicken and fish because I reintroduced that a long time ago because I was so ill,
yeah.
because I was vegetarian. And but of course I was eating all the soy products, all the crappy meat replacements and things.
Yeah.
And I was so ill, you know. But I reintroduced red meat this year. And it was difficult at first because I'm not used to the taste. I mean, I stopped eating that. Oh my gosh. I must have only been about 14 years old,
Yeah.
15,
Yeah.
because I was on a bit of a crusade back, even back there, save the Amazon, and I'm not going to eat meat, you know. I wanted to be, just a complete, and that I was a bit, even at that age.
Yeah.
It didn't suit me at all, and it doesn't suit a lot of people, sadly. Like
Yeah.
you, in environmental sense, I love animals. I mean, I really do, but I also don't. I believe in organic, like good farming.
Yeah.
I do not agree with the way the farming's gone in the world where,
Yeah. Well, and I
but
think that's the important part too, is learning that eating meat, as an example, there are practices like grass-fed, beef as an example, or using
yeah,
learning what these terms mean that you see at the grocery
yeah,
store that you may not understand what that means and how you can make a choice. And a lot of times
yeah,
what stops people really is the expense of things, and what they don't realize is what costs more here. Then you're not spending all of this on the back end for illness, for
yeah,
prescriptions, for surgeries, for diseases, that kind of thing, because you're paying the cost for what you're putting into your body
yeah,
now, and so it's just such a complex thing. And that's why I think it's so important that people have someone who is knowledgeable to help them walk through that journey. I recently
yeah.
discovered that spinach was making me uh, not feel well. Okay, spinach is a
Hmm.
great thing, right? But it was making me not feel well. And so it doesn't mean I can never have spinach again, but I just need to heal whatever's going on with
Yeah.
me that's
What was it
causing.
causing, if you don't mind me asking? Was it pain?
No, it just, I didn't even realize that's what it was. I would just notice I just didn't feel well. And I had narrowed it down to, it seemed like every time I had something with spinach in it, because it
Yeah.
wouldn't happen
Very high
immediately.
in oxalates, the spinach.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen immediately. It would happen, a little bit
Yeah.
later. And so it's tricky because you don't always know what's creating the problem, right?
No. And it
So
changes all the time,
absolutely.
especially when you start healing. And when you start healing the gut, the more you heal it, the more you can reintroduce.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I know, it's just
it's
crazy.
really quite amazing. I mean, one of the reasons I chose to do this as well. So when people you know, because we're on the same kind of group, and we're in that entrepreneurs group, but even other places, and people have asked me, what who's your ideal client? And I was like, me. I'm my ideal client. That's the reason I'm doing it, because I couldn't find anybody
Yeah,
that knew everything that I needed to understand. So I've kind of
100%.
based that all on that
Me too.
just wanted to get, and I continue to get knowledge all the time,
Yeah,
because I just think that there's, like you said earlier as well, you have to become the the the, um, the best knowing of your own body.
100%.
But it's good to have someone there to give you the as many different options of information as possible.
Yeah.
And actually to show you, like when we were saying earlier, there's some really, really unhealthy ways to do keto, for instance. However, when you do it and you're looking after the microbiome as well, the gut, it's extremely healthy.
Yeah.
You have to be careful, but
You
and
do.
then
And
over
it's
time,
it's important to have someone help you navigate all of those different things. So
yeah,
I love this, and I cannot believe our conversation is
I
already
know,
coming to an end. So
I
so
know.
let me ask you if you have any final thoughts or something that you think is really important for people
I
to know.
wanted to ask you actually about your gastric bypass, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. Is
No, not at
that
all.
okay?
Yeah.
So how do you find do you struggle to digest fats or anything now, or is
Well, it's been, let's see, it's been 18 years now since I
wow,
had it. And so you know, i- everything has evolved since that time. Because when
yeah,
I had it, I didn't know anything about nutrition. So I focused on
yeah,
uh, getting sugar out of my diet, stopping potatoes, stopping bread, stopping pasta, stopping
mhm,
um potatoes, I think. So yes, fat, it depends. I can have I don't want to get into graphic details, but I can have some challenges with that. But it's been so long now that I can eat more than I once could.
and you're
Um,
okay with meat as well?
well, yes, I do have to be careful with that too. Sometimes it depends on how it's cooked. What I have found is that I really can't digest pork anymore.
Right.
Now I can bacon. I can do bacon, but like a pork chop or something like
Yeah.
that, it's too dense. I
Right.
can't really do it. And a lot of times it has more to do with how something is cooked. I'll give you an example. If I go in a restaurant and let's say order bacon and eggs, and this restaurant, I can eat it great, no problem. This restaurant, it makes me very sick. Why? And the only thing I can think of is it may have something to do with whatever oil they're using or whatever cooking oil that
Mhm.
they're using. Maybe
Yeah.
it. I don't know for sure. So I just have to
Yeah.
be
That makes
careful.
sense though.
And when if I go to a restaurant, like I've gotten to where I know certain restaurants I can go to and things seem pretty good, but I can go somewhere else and I can get sick. And again, because
Yeah.
I had gastric bypass, my insides don't work the same way as other
Yeah.
people. I have malabsorption, I have challenges with things, and then I had the emergency where I lost more intestines. I had gangrene in my intestines.
Wow. Oh
So
gosh.
it's and all of that to say, I think all of that leads to our higher work because we walk through all of those things so that we
Hmm.
can help more people in the world, you know.
Yeah. Oh,
So yeah,
definitely.
we
No, I was
we
just curious because I have a friend that's gone through this and
yeah, and
it's
mine was
quite
the
trying.
Roux-en-Y or the RNY gastric bypass. So it was the full thing. It wasn't
Yeah,
the
this was
sleeve
this is the
or it
same.
was
Yeah.
the full thing. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
could definitely talk for days about that.
Yeah, we could actually, but it's just I'll keep in touch with you over that because it's interesting. And just because when obviously I can read the knowledge on it, but it's different actually speaking to
Yeah,
someone who's
we
been through
we
it.
can have some in-depth conversations about that
Yeah.
for sure. So, any final thoughts you have for the
No,
people? So that's about it.
I
We've
don't
covered
think
a
so. It's
lot of
been so
ground.
lovely. It's just so
Thank
nice to
you.
speak to you. It's been
Thank
great.
you. Well, for those watching, thank you so much for being here with us today on the Holistic Pathway podcast, where we have unscripted conversations about mind, body, spirit, and entrepreneurship. I have a new episode that uploads on YouTube every Saturday. I hope you'll stay tuned and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.